Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the Fantasy Rugby Ends. My name's Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
Welcome in. Week 2 in the books for Champions Cup. There was some really good stuff going on. Some exciting stuff from some teams that we've been waiting for to kind of pop a little bit. Really good match going on over in Italy as well, which was probably not to everybody's expectation, unless you've been paying attention to Benetton. But we'll get to that in a minute. Have you been playing the official Champions Cup fantasy game?
No, I needed to take a break from fantasy.
Okay,
So
I will allow that.
between a couple of fantasy football teams with a whole bunch of Premiership and then the World Cup, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a break for this.
What are you talking about? You're out of our league.
I know. Oh.
Yeah. Hey, I'm hanging on by a fingernail. I'm still in, but I could get booted this week if I lose. Yeah, I put up a decent number this week. I was able to go 1-1 in this little period here. We'll see what happens the rest of the way, though. There's some head scratching stuff going on. Like, this might end poorly for me. I did somehow end up with Johnny Hill. Talking about it.
There you go.
Like, and I know there's good. And sorry, guys, or anybody that listens to this that's in my league. What the fuck were you paying attention to when it comes to lock? Like, he was widely available. He was like just sitting out there. Nobody had ever.
Well, maybe that Exeter haven't actually they haven't fared terribly well at this.
I agree with that, but
tournament
he has been on
in the
fire.
past. So yeah, he has.
He himself has been on fire. So totally worth it. So actually, my opponent next time we play picked up the guy I started with, which was Ty Byrne, but he ended up not starting that first match, so I just ditched him. I was like, oh, Johnny Hill works.
There you go. Look what I found.
Yeah, big time. Wait, hold on. We're missing something here. Let's open these suckers up. Please make sure that you are subscribed to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and all your other favorite podcast apps that are out there that you find us on. If there's one that we don't mention and you want to know if we're on it, please ask, because I'm sure we are. It's just a matter of how you search it or something like that, and that's okay. All right, and also, hey, we're back into Prem this week.
We are.
So time to go get that fancy that Rugby magazine upgrade. That's the one I meant. The Rugby magazine upgrade, big time. Did I hear right that we're only on this for a week though, and then we're back to Champions Cup? Am I making that up in my brain? I thought we were on for 2.
I think so. I think you might be on.
Okay. Hold on. Let me look this up. Well, of course I should have done this beforehand, but amateur hour over here.
Yeah. Yep. 29th November is round 5.
Yep.
And then round 6 is the 20th of December.
Oh, damn. All right, so we're just playing the one round.
Yep.
That's ugly. I mean, kind of had to squish everything together because of some stupid tournament over in Japan,
which is kind of affecting the Champions Cup tournament.
Yeah, the teams that are getting rolled out there for sure, in terms of the player personnel.
Right.
And some teams are waiting on others to come back. Like Sale finally got to Clark back this week. Other teams are still waiting on it. So it's definitely had an impact on it in terms of the players we're seeing on the pitch. And some of them are coming back tired, obviously.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of teams that are just not bothering to pull back their players even in this competition. So it's kind of fascinating to see who's rocking up for what games and who's just kind of saying, you know what, we're good. We're going to concede some of these.
Right. Well, so let's get into news and notes. You want to do the rant, or you want to do the injury news first?
Let's start with the rant, because rants are fun and I enjoy them.
Rants are fun. So, and hope if you're in the United States, you understand this. Watching rugby over here is a bit of a pain in the ass, less so than it was once upon a time.
It's getting better.
And we've talked about many times about how we used to watch it, and now it's a little easier. You have to pay for it, which is actually okay though, because before you couldn't even fucking pay for it.
Right.
So that's a step in the right direction, but I have to just have my shot at NBC Sports. Like, what the fuck? Like, to get comms up to take 10 minutes to get comms up, and I don't know if you were listening to that match. The comms were ahead of the video.
Yes. So this is the Gloucester
Montpellier match. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. That is JV bullshit for an organization as big as NBC.
So I didn't watch it live. I saw the replay. They had comms up, but the referee mic was way too loud. So I was watching the first 20 minutes or so at the gym.
Yeah.
And so I have my earbuds in.
Oh, jeez.
And so everything's finally sounding. All of a sudden, a whistle. And I'm like, oh, jeez, what the fuck?
Yeah, thank you for not doing that ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So did they have comms from the word go in the replay?
Okay, yeah, in the replay they had comms the whole time.
They fixed it. Fucking A, dude.
But still, that shouldn't happen to a live event.
So NBC Sports, every time you screw up, do we get money back? A little bit, because if we didn't make the payments, you'd be pissed and you'd be hounding us. But fucking up there's fuck ups and there's amateur fuck ups. That's an amateur fuck up. So that should not be acceptable, and that should be something that NBC Sports really looks at themselves for.
Right, and they've been better, but it's still kind of bullshit because. I mean, every so often you'll get a game that doesn't have the referee's mic.
Yeah, we've had a couple in the last 2 weeks.
Which is also really fucking annoying because I want to hear what the referee is saying. It changes the whole experience when you can't hear, you don't hear a whistle or, you're seeing the play continue after the whistle.
Yeah, and you're
like,
wait,
no, what the fuck? That was a knock. And how is he not seeing? What the
I'm so confused right now.
Right. And then it stops, and they're like, "Oh, okay, they got it." It's such a valuable thing to have that. And then you hear the cursing too that they always apologize for,
which they legally have to apologize
for.
Apparently, I was like, "Oops, we don't have to legally apologize for shit." Yeah, and we talk about how the American commentators always talk over the referee's mic. Mm-hmm. What's worse is not having the referee's mic to begin with. Right. So just do better, goddammit, please. Pretty please, if you don't, I'll just hoop you in the nuts and we'll call it a day. How's that sound? All right, I'm done. So some injuries. Just going up and down this is usually not a reliable list, but it's got some names on there that pop my eyes out. Our friends at Rugby Mag are getting a little bit better about their injury reporting here. I see some injuries and I go, ooh, that's not good. Courtney Law's out for at least a couple months, looks like. Woodward has looks like he's going to be out for at least a month. Let's see who else. I did see a couple other big names. Watson and Mercer out for 3 to 4 weeks, so they're going to be out for a month, give or take. Ewells is going to be out for at least a month.
Which for this is really just this 1 week. So
right, but still, you're probably looking at Mercer might be back for the next time we play this.
Right. So what I'm saying is, for some of these guys, don't rush to drop them.
No, definitely not. I'm not dropping Mercer. Right. I have so much stock in Mercer; it's ridiculous. I have him in this. And both my Prem FRD teams. I don't think I have him in my. Do I have him in my? I might have him in my European team too.
No.
Yep, Zach Mercer. I have all kinds of stock in Zach Mercer. I am a member. I am the president of the Zach Mercer fan club, apparently. But yeah, and what else is there? Violanu for the Wasps got hurt as well. Launchbury apparently either picked up an injury this weekend or came back with one that they're ruling him out for. Gasco we knew was kind of banged up. Brad Shields got banged up as well. So I would at least expect not to see these guys anytime soon. Sehoni Vilanu, that's a big one. He was actually having a decent season for them, being their starting 8-man. But he's also probably not used to that much playing time. So I think that was one of the things. I'm sure he was chomping at the bit after being way down the pecking order at Saracens. But then he gets the starting lineup and he's ready to go. But there's a point where you have to reconsider, how much rugby has this guy played in the last year to 2 years?
You might want to ease him into it instead of just throwing him out there to the wolves.
Right. Yeah. Watson was a big one. I saw him fall in that match, and I was terrified of what it could be. Thank God it's only a 3-4 week, month-ish thing. That could have been very, very bad. But yeah, so these will be guys that you obviously need to at least find a replacement for the week. Ewells will probably be somebody you need to find for a little while. Woodward and Law, same thing.
Have we heard about Beaumont's injury yet?
Nope.
And that's not up on the site.
That is not up on the site. I don't know. It also depends on how good the clubs are at reporting it to the media.
Right.
And I don't know who's the manager the coach at Sale.
Someone we all know and love.
Yeah. He's probably not great about it. Probably doesn't want to. Probably keeps his cards pretty close to the vest. So I don't think we'll see a report on that until he's ready to come back.
Yeah.
So just kind of sit on him if you want. If you have an inkling about it, ditch him. Yeah. Anything else? I'm trying to think. I thought I had one more in my brain, but I guess I can't remember it. Clearly, it was super, super important.
Right.
What do we got? Oh, the Champions Cup. So round 2, starting off Friday night at the Kingspan. This was a typical Jekyll and Hyde French team performance, like top 14 team performance. I won't say French team because yes, they're from the French league, but God knows they got so many guys starting. I think even somebody said, "Oh, it's awesome that JP Doyle is speaking French to the Claremont team." There's only like 6 of them that are French, though. I was like, might be goody.
Yeah, they don't really.
So
just speak English. We know it better.
You might be all right with that. But anyway, to the game, Ulster, tough place to win, tough place to beat. Ulster is up there in Belfast. It really is, and that crowd loves their team up there. John Cooney was looking every bit the part that he has been for that team. He's definitely been a big talisman for them, and I was extremely impressed with the way that Ulster were able to rock up against a team that just lit the world on fire the week before. Mm-hmm. You got to give it to them.
Yeah, I was disappointed a little bit in Claremont with their lineup. First off, mm-hmm. I think especially when things weren't going well for them. They left Laidlaw in way too long.
Agreed.
And we at the Fantasy Rugby Yanks are not huge fans of Laidlaw to begin with.
Nope.
Not that he's a bad player, but if things aren't going well, he gets in a bad place.
He gets
mentally. Yeah,
definitely, and he gets into that point where he gets really lippy and pissy.
Right.
And most referees don't want that. Scrum halves tend to be that way as it is, but when you're extra lippy and pissy, referees definitely aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You can better believe that.
And I felt like Para came on and made a difference. And then Camille Lopes. I would have loved to see him the whole match.
Yeah, Lopez is we saw what quality he had when he played the U.S.
Right.
I know it was the U.S., but again, the U.S. aren't quite the slouches they once upon a time were.
Look, I realize it's hard to to have Jake McIntyre sitting in there in your team sheet and sit him over for a guy who's maybe playing one of the best 10s in the world. Certainly, yeah. He lit up the World Cup, and has been playing pretty well.
Right.
Outside of it.
Yeah, since he's come back, yeah.
Especially in a game like this, where, like you said, you're on the road, you're at Kingspan.
Nasty weather.
Right. You want to have your kind of gutsier players out there. So
and you got to have a game manager at 10, and he can definitely would have been putting the boot to the ball a little bit better and putting Claremont in some better positions, maybe not attacking wise, but at least field position wise. What was the field position stat on this one? 60-40 Ulster, pretty significant. I consider anything above 54 to be fairly significant, and that's significant right there. So I think that says a lot about how they were able to get things up. Cooney obviously got himself over the line with just a wonder try. This guy is so good. You wonder how he got left out over for Ireland. I look at him and I'm like, why aren't you here? Why aren't you there?
Yeah, no, the try he had was fantastic. But then he also took away a try earlier in the match.
He did. I'll give you that. He ate it when he should have given.
Right. So to me, fantastic individual effort player. But if you're looking to play in a system that needs distribution and really stresses the team over the individual, I'm not sure he's your guy.
I think he would be fine.
I mean, fine, yeah. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just when I saw certain things that it was like he's looking to make a play himself, and not that that's a bad thing. Ireland just isn't that kind of team.
Yeah, he had, in terms of involvement, he had 76 passes to 5 carries. So it was just really that one glaring moment where he probably should have given it that really pops at you. Which, yeah, I totally understand. He should have given it, and that would have been an easy try. Made up for it, did it, and also did his job off the tee.
Yep.
So,
I'm not getting down on him. It was just, one of these, like, as far as his game, my notes on them were you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing with that.
How about the crowd getting on a Bendinen?
Just on top of him.
You fuck up once.
Oh,
that's all it takes.
They're ruthless. They're ruthless.
They were like, they weren't even like letting him catch the ball to cheer. They were like, as soon as that ball, he was in the neighborhood of that high ball. They were like, you could hear them swelling. Like,
yeah, they'll put pressure on you big time.
Yeah,
up there at Kingspan. One final note. It was unfortunate that the broadcast Stephen Ferris had to just hammer on. I think it was Addison that ended up making that hit on Desanya from the young substitute for Claremont, and I really find it hard to believe that I'm agreeing with what Ugo said, but Ugo called it a rugby incident, and I'd say it's probably pretty much the perfect way to describe it. It wasn't something that Addison intended. Yes, it was high, and I know he's a big lock. It was head-to-head. Good God.
Yeah. He got cited for it, I believe.
Did he? Okay,
yeah,
well, there you go. Well, there you go. Justice for you. Justice for you, Stephen Ferris. Either way, the call the decision was made, and he needed to let it go, because every time, I think it was Addison got, again, I think it was Addison. I don't remember exactly.
No, it was Addison, yeah.
Either way, every time he got mentioned, Ferris was on it. I'm like, dude, knock it off. Like, the decision's been made. Stop harping on it, all right?
Right.
If he's going to get cited, he's going to get cited. You know, the referee's made his decision. Pay attention to the rest of the game, all right?
Yeah.
Get off that. And, I like Stephen Ferris. He was a tough bugger when he played. But that's just something he needs to just kind of let it go. Let it go, man. There's more to the game.
Right. It wasn't.
This was still a.
It wasn't intentional. He wasn't like. Yeah. It was. You're right. We're sitting there agreeing with you. It's a rugby incident. It happens. Yeah. Citing is one thing, but we don't have to go and act like it was the worst thing in the world, because you know what? That cheapens other acts that are bad, because then we can't just be clutching our pearls at every hit that's not quite right. We can say, we don't like the outcome. We obviously don't like the outcome.
Yeah, it looked pretty horrific in the end.
But there was no ill intent. It was just poor. It was just a unfortunate heads being in the same space.
Lowering down, driving, all that, just things that happen in a rugby match. And that and there was a close match at that point. It's not like it's not like you had nothing to talk about. It was a 5-point match at that point. Just call the game, okay? Yeah. Pay attention to the game and call it. But Ulster do take care of Claremont, and they are sitting pretty on top of their pool now, which I kind of had an inkling that they would be the team to definitely at least be second, if not first, in this one. I don't see how they lose to either of the other two teams. Obviously, they didn't lose to Bath. I think this back-to-back with Quins and is going to just leave them sitting pretty and probably ready to qualify.
Yeah.
Once we're done in a few weeks here. Okay. And then we had a big block of games on Saturday morning for us here. It was fun time. You want to talk about our guys first?
Yeah, let's go through ours first. Get it out of the way so people can stop hearing
Fast forward.
us like drooling all over the Saracens, because that's what we do when they play like this.
Well, when they play that well, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
And I said it on Twitter. I'll say it here. Remember the name Roddy Shagan.
Yeah. Yes.
Whoa. Wow. Dude, kid was unbelievable.
I'm happy.
Another wing that the Saracens have churned out.
I have text evidence for this. that we were looking at through the lineups, and I told Jared that I really liked Roddy at 14 rather than 11. He's solid on defense. He's not you're gonna be your playmaking attacking wing, and yet at the same time, I think he's good enough to do damage against that playmaking attacking wing that the 11, who maybe isn't the best defensive player.
Sometimes not, yeah.
So I think that was a solid move on their part, and Shagan helped prove me right.
Right.
Obviously, by proving McCall right.
Yeah, absolutely. Showed some faith. Obviously, the Saracens had a much better looking lineup that came in. You had the likes of Jinx on the bench. Singleton started.
Yeah, Cruiser was in there.
yeah,
Mako's back.
Yeah, Mako start.
Elliot Daly, his debut appearance went very well.
It went quite well.
He looks like he's gonna add a big time presence and speed. Not that they needed any.
Yeah,
but when they're fielding their best lineup, when everybody's back healthy, I honestly see Daly at 13, and that speed at 13 for Saris.
that'd be great.
Would be deadly.
But I mean, and we talked about it, we love Brad Barrett.
Right.
No question about it. The dude leads the defense. We when our defense is bad because he's not in there.
Right.
It's not a question. But the day he's ready to hang him up is the day that that midfield for Saracens gets just a touch faster, because you're probably going to see the likes of Tompkins and Daly pairing up in there, and that's going to be a very terrifying thought for a lot of teams, I think. I like Laws, but I think he's going to be ready to move on at the end of this contract.
Yeah.
And, fair enough. He got here. He got himself some titles. He played very well when he was called upon in a lot of spots. A lot more solid defensively than a lot of people thought he was. But, again, I think there's just a little bit more dynamic going on with Nick Tompkins.
We also saw the Saracens debut of, and I'm going to butcher his name because I have not said it yet. This is going to be my first even attempt. Josh Bonakpe?
Yep, something like that.
Do you pronounce all the letters
so.
there? I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, he's a unit.
The Saracens coaching staff needs to take him and point him over at Will Skelton.
Oh yeah, he's a bit of a.
And then go have him work with Will Skelton and the people that Will Skelton worked with.
Yeah, as nutritionist.
Because I see him next. He'll be decent this year. Like you said, he's a hoose. He can play. He's a good maybe 20 to 30 minute prop.
Well, thankfully we have tight heads. We have a few tight heads on this team, so.
But I slim him down, make him much more of a mobile force. He certainly got a little bit out of position and couldn't work because he couldn't work his way back into position fast enough. But good solid start for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
For his Saris career, not start, but when he came in,
start to the career,
good, right?
Yep,
acquitted himself well.
Yeah, because he was on a ban for a high tackle in the Prem Cup, which is unfortunate. But hopefully it'll just be the once incidents. The Saracens team worked quite well. Obviously, their kicking game was much better. Tom Whiteley started and played himself a hell of a match. Good on him. First European appearance and ended up getting over the line. Yeah,
and Manu Vunipola.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got an expanded role this match. We talked about it last week, how he was very limited. He only had we had said 6 passes last week. We're gonna look this up in real time this week. See if they have him here.
A little bit better. I got it. He had 22.
22. Well, there you go.
Much better.
That they let him. They actually let him play with the ball a little bit, and that and the results were there from it. We saw Sagan with the 2 tries, and also setting up Lewington when Sagan was all the way across the field. They played a much more expansive game.
Yeah, open that up just a bit. They have the ability.
Really, what I was looking for last week, they showed this week.
Right, and sounds like we're completely dismissing the Ospreys. Well, we kind of are, because they didn't play very well.
They really didn't.
I mean,
which is a shame.
It is, and I see guys on this team: Aled Davies, James Hook, Adam Beard. Some good names. Owen Watkin, who I definitely had a bit of a crush on him at the World Cup. You see some of these names and you want to be excited, but this was not an exciting game for them by any means whatsoever. Had somebody try and get after me on Twitter for Roddy, and I was just like, and it was definitely I think it was at least a Welsh fan, not an Ospreys fan, making fun of, is this I don't remember what the hell he said. I said
that was a typical salary cap there. Getting paid.
And I was just like, his company's name is Shigun 10, Ospreys 3. Yeah. I was like, there you go. Eat that.
Yeah. They did not, and I understand being a little bit bitter about it, but they were not playing well.
No, it is what it is. Call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean the Saracens played kind of certainly a mixed side, and not only that, but we talked about it even at the World Cup, talking about Duncan Taylor. I mean, when you look across you and you see that there's a center pairing of Brad Barrett and Duncan Taylor, you should be licking your lips like we can outrun these fuckers.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
Nope, no, you couldn't. I mean, that's a pair you could probably run around, but not through, because they'll both hit you hard. But yeah, you definitely could have run around them if you so choose to, and they didn't. No. That's where it is. Yeah, one more last note, and then we'll move on. I would anticipate that you see a lot of lineups similar to this the rest of the way for Saracens. A mix of their guys coming back from England, some of the guys coming back from injury, and some of the guys that started the season both in the Prem Cup and the early rounds of the Premiership, just because RPA only allows you to play so many matches at a whack, and it's good for their health, but it's also going to be good for the longevity through this season, and to make sure everybody gets through playing well, but also being healthy.
I mean, you're going to see a lot of wins. You're going to see a lot of Roddy, and probably more Duncan Taylor than you probably would expect. Certainly in matches like that are against more the lower tier teams, so like your Leicesters and maybe even your Worcesters and
even
Bath,
Irish, yep.
Right. You're not going to see a full bore lineup. You're going to see something like you said, like this. They'll rest guys tactically. It's only going to be for the teams, the games that they really need to win, that they will rock up and
agreed,
and take care of business.
Agreed. Yeah. So Saracens take care of business and get themselves going in the Champions Cup. They got a 5-pointer, and they ain't out of it yet, especially with the result that happened later on that day. Over to Italy. We talked about it. We mentioned it before. This was a cracker of a match. Benetton and Saints, given the crowd what little crowd they could draw, a lot of
empty seats.
I know, it was unfortunate.
A lot of
fly me there. I would have watched that game.
And it turned into a fantastic game.
It did. And I was wrong about who won this match, but I did say this is not a team that just go sleep on over when they're at home.
And to me, this this goes to a couple of tactical ideas that I've been thinking about too, especially around penalty kicks, where a lot of these Premiership teams like to just penalty kick the other team to death, and once you get into this competition, that doesn't quite work. For instance, the Saints, their first possession, they drive down into Benetton territory, and they take the penalty kick option early. It was like 6 minutes in. No, I'm sorry. No, 5. The Benetton scored first because they got in. They passed up a penalty kick attempt. They went to the corner and they
got over the line first.
They got over the line. So that just tells me so the Saints took the penalty kick option because they were able to move the ball pretty quickly, and they felt we'll do this all day. And Benetton said, you know what? We're not sure how many bites at the apple we're going to get, so we're going to go for the max points when we have to.
Yep.
And that really that difference in mentality really changed a lot of that early match and helped Benetton seize the control of the game in the way that the Saints weren't able to. Left the Saints scrambling later.
Very much.
Because now it turns into they scored first, so that means that Benetton can just take penalty kicks a little bit. Now they can work the scoreboard a little bit easier.
Right.
Sure, the Saints got over. Was it that pass from Dan Bigger?
That was naughty. That was naughty. That was a great pass. Oh man, what a pass that was! I was like, did he just?
He did.
Replay. Oh yeah, he did. He did it. Wow. But yeah, oh man, that was great.
But he gets over, and that makes it. The Saints take the lead 11 minutes in, but then Benetton 2 minutes later is kicking for points to take the lead again. So that's just a little bit of, working the scoreboard to your favor and taking what's offered, but you've already got the try under your belt, so you can still extend the lead. And then they scored again pretty quickly after that.
Yeah.
With the Ratuva try off that maul.
Yep.
It just changes, that again, the idea of going to the corner early in the match and saving your kicks for late.
Right.
Really to manage the scoreboard instead of just try to be like, we'll put points up and that'll be enough. It wasn't enough for the Saints.
No, they needed to figure out something more.
And I just want to say the name Nacho Brex.
How about him?
Because
the try.
That's a fun name to
The
say and a
try.
fun fucking score he had.
I think it was Slateholm. He made him look silly.
Yeah.
I was just like, ooh, that's mean. That was very mean because he apparently not known for a try score, more known to knock the shit out of you.
Right.
That looked pretty good. It was a great line, and then he just made a silly move to make Slateholm look just embarrass himself. These guys were hot to start.
Yeah.
I was glad that these guys showed a little bit of stones to say, nope, we're not just getting shoved around in this. We're here.
Although they took a physical toll on them. I mean, that Riccione he had a really big hit on Moon early, but then since then his he's been kneeling after the play every few minutes.
He was
to the point where
Pasquale came on fairly quick.
Saints were like, hey, they're just killing the game. Like, they're not in shape.
Yes.
They can't do this.
Yes.
All they're doing is trying to stop. And the referee's like, there's not much I can do. They have
I'm not a physio.
Right.
I'm not a physio. I can't, you can't leave it on the referee to do that, unfortunately.
Right. But Harrison was definitely, I think he was a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I know Tamana was talking about it.
Yeah.
I do want to say a name that I love the way he plays. He didn't necessarily light up the stat sheet this game, but Freddie Ruza looks really good, ball in hand as a second row. Almost like I mean, this is a high compliment to him, and it might be too high, but almost like a Toje light, like an Toje beta. Like, looks pretty good in the loose ball, good ball carrying, can win you a penalty now and again. Definitely can handle the ball and pass it when needed. I keep your eye on him. He's a pretty darn good player. He played really well for Italy at the World Cup. I'd be very happy if I was Benetton, knowing that I had him on my team. And then, so let's talk about the end of the game, and then we'll get onto it. Saints, the last two penalties.
Mm-hmm.
It's more, the last penalty was definitely a penalty.
Yep.
It's more the second to last penalty. Forward pass and then following pass was an intentional knock. I mean, are we splitting hairs here? Are we just calling it, or?
That looked intentional to me.
Right.
Which at that point, yeah, I get that was a correct penalty. I think. The only penalty I had before then was the Jamie Gibson turnover penalty.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was definitely a penalty.
Right.
He earned that. That was huge.
Yep.
I don't recall a penalty, the second penalty that.
It wasn't. So it was that.
Was there one in
and
between
then there was the one because that wasn't the one that got them
the shot at goal.
The shot at goal. It wasn't. It was the following one. It might have been the Gibson one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But before that pass came, there was a potential forward pass that was not either not checked, or they decided it was flat. I don't know.
I feel like, so again, there's the referee's discretion with the checklist that they go through to say whether or not to intervene in the match is, did it impact the game? Like, was it clear and obvious? And did it was there an impact to it? And to that, it wasn't forward enough. And I kind of like that they're doing these, just the pass drift forward because they were running forward.
Trying to knock some of that shit off at least.
Right. It's the ones that are that was clearly thrown and intentionally
three
thrown.
meters forward. We'll talk about one in a little bit.
Right.
But yeah.
And so that one, no, I don't think there was anything wrong with that. I think there was they've been I think that's been consistent, so I'm okay with it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. That
they've been consistently okay with that kind of pass. The deliberate knock. I don't even know how deliberate it was.
He didn't have a shot at catching it.
He didn't have a shot at catching it, and he touched it. But at the same time,
forward.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
It's hard to say no.
It is hard to say no.
So, yeah, no.
He did a very good job of not looking at the ball while he hit it. So that's why it's more of like an unintentional knock, but at the same time, that's a...
I think it was a little too obvious.
Yeah.
But Benetton played very well. Unfortunately, this is their second loss in the comp, so they're probably going to be left to either maybe chase a second.
It's hard to have that home loss there.
Yeah. Or maybe just consolidate and go back to Pro 14 and make sure they requalify for this competition. That's important.
Although I think
that should be important for them.
I think they have a shot at Lyon, so I think they could probably squeeze out 2 wins here.
I think think they'll squeeze out one.
Well,
in
they
Italy.
should. We'll squeeze out one. It's the question of can they win on the road.
Yeah, that'll be. We saw that they can play well on the road, so
Right.
we'll see. 35-32 to the Northampton Saints, with Dan Bigger having big old cojones to hit that winner at the end, and they're sitting pretty at the top of their pool right now. And then we have Toulouse and Connacht, and Connacht rocked up a little bit for this one. I know the score didn't say otherwise, but they played pretty well for the most part in this match. It was just really unfortunate that they kind of let it get away from them at the end.
I mean, I
the
feel
Aki
like
try at the end was, kind of the icing on the cake.
yeah, that was the again just to get the bonus point. Just they were working for it,
Right.
Any other match than that they're taking away a 25-17 win and are okay with it. But they, in this kind of competition, you need every point you can get.
100%.
So, yeah, there's I don't know how much there is to talk about. The Fainga tackle on Intimac was
Silly.
Yeah, that was bad, but it also didn't really damage them that much.
They didn't score much.
I don't think they scored off of it.
Yeah. Nah. UJ got over.
Okay, usually
Right.
got it. Yeah,
About 5 minutes.
that's
into
true.
It.
Yep.
But then Fitzgerald, I don't know if Fainga had gotten back on, but Fitzgerald hit back with a drop goal.
Yep.
And that really ended up just being a +2 on that, because they missed the conversion on UJ's try because it was way out.
Right.
It was way out.
So really not. Yeah. That it didn't really change that much in the match. So luckily for Connacht there. And then kind of Toulouse wrestled the game away in this the beginning of that last quarter. They hit the PK at around 60 minutes to take the 1 point lead, and then after a series of pick and goes, 5 minutes later they get over.
Yep.
And that's really that makes it an 8 point lead with 15 to go, and the game kind of just settled from there. The Toulouse, just worked on shutting them down, and then the end said, yeah, we're going to go for the
try just
for the
to
corner. We're going to go for the try and
get the bonus point, which they did.
Right, which they did. So I thought,
Yeah.
the game. This is about the way I figured the game would go.
Yeah.
32-17.
Scrappy, and then they pull.
Right. It makes sense. I honestly, though, I expected Connacht to not make it that much of a game for that long. I thought that would be more of a maybe they'd get some garbage time scores to get that 17, but it was kind of the opposite. So
yeah, props to Connor Fitzgerald for playing as well as he did. In Connacht didn't have as much faith in Jack Carty after the last game, and he'd probably of the two played better the last game. Obviously, they pulled off the win at the end. So I'll give him a lot of credit, and the situation was not too big for the kid, so gotta give him that. And then last player note for Connacht is Blade. He looks pretty darn good. He looks very lively. He looks like he's gonna be the guy, the person that drives his team on.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean the names for Toulouse just don't surprise you. Ramos, Intimac, Medar, Kano. Guys that played really well and just made a nuisance of themselves for one reason or another.
Yep.
So Toulouse 32, Connacht 17. Toulouse are feeling pretty good about themselves after having to scrape by in England again, but and then coming back with a fairly solid home win. And then we had some more fun going on in, was it France? Or am I making this up in my brain?
Which we going to Lyon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in
Yeah.
France. Oh,
this wasn't pretty.
No, it took me like 3 sittings to get through this match.
Wow, that says a lot.
There just wasn't much going on. Lyon seemed disconnected. They seemed like they had you had 2 or 3 players arguing at the beginning of every play, every phase about what they should do. There was no clear direction. There was no clear, it seemed like leader, like this is what we're doing. It was, I got my hands on the ball. This is what I'm doing with it. I don't give a fuck what you wanted. And
not great.
Yeah, or like, oh, I didn't really want this ball. Well, you're getting it anyway. Fuck you.
Not a great way to play.
They were flat in attack, so they really only had a chance to make one or two passes from the breakdown. So like, whoever was at that first receiver, they were either getting it or throwing one pass, and that was it because they were maybe 5 meters behind the gain line. Also kind of screwed up. They did a little like chip and chase, which was fun. It worked a couple times where they just did a short chip right over the defensive line as it rushed up and got behind. That was a good way to get behind the line.
But yeah.
Until Josh Vanderfleer said, you know what? I'm assuming this is how he said it to himself. All they're doing is chipping it over us. Fuck it, I'm not doing that anymore.
Attaboy.
Put that one away. And they just reaches up, smacks it down, and Leinster puts it over the line. And that was really that was the only real offense of the match. Was turning defense into attack. Okay. Between that and Jordan Larmour just having a complete fucking brain fart in attack contest.
What are you doing?
The ball's nowhere near out. The commentators were a little generous to him.
They were super generous.
They're like, oh, how could he? That was really no. That was never close.
That was not that close, guys.
The ball never appeared anywhere near close to out. And I don't even think the tackle contest was complete. And he's like running around the bodies to go grab that ball.
Am I good here? No, you
can't do that.
No, you are not.
Yeah, easily yellow.
Yep.
But nothing happens from it.
Yeah, something about French teams and not taking advantage of yellows.
So we had that one try and then a whole bunch of penalty kicks, and there was Lyon versus Leinster.
Right. I did screw up which player was which last week. It was Caelan Doris that started at 8 for Leinster last week, not Deegan. Deegan played this week, and he ends up being the one to get the ball to the line and give them the eventual win. 13-6, Leinster over Lyon. And then we had something much more entertaining, at the very least.
Yeah.
Exeter and Glasgow.
Fun match.
Yeah, this is a great match. Obviously, for Exeter especially. This is their stamp of we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. We know what we're doing in Europe now. Mm-hmm. Stuart Hogg going against some of his old mates. That was kind of fun.
It was fun.
I'm sure he was giving him shit left and right, and I'm sure they were giving it back to him.
Oh yeah, they weren't going to let him. You could tell that they were kind of keen on him a little bit.
Yeah, they were just like, all right, let's
see
if
you're not getting us.
Let's see if we can make his life a little bit miserable.
Yeah. Well, then his first touch against that club, and he threw it forward to Noel.
Yeah,
so
I was like, where are you going?
That that you could see there was a little bit of nerves there on his part too.
Right. But I mean, this was a good game. This was a good game for Exeter. This was a huge statement game for them. Like, yeah, I know they beat La Rochelle, and La Rochelle isn't necessarily regarded that highly.
Right.
They're tough in top 14, but not necessarily that tough in Europe. Mm-hmm. They have had their moments, but not necessarily of late. And I think it was pretty clear here that Exeter were better before because they are better by far.
And they've been working on their open field play a lot better. They did work on their own. They did kind of revert back to, Exeter rugby where they're looking for the corner kick and the pick and go to score. But at the same time, they're doing well in open play too. A lot of their tries weren't in from that muckety muck. I don't know if you can count that Skinner because that was off of a maul, but at the same time they didn't pick and go. It was there's an open space. I'm going to go attack it, which is always fun, whether or not it's off of a maul or just in open play.
I mean, put Jack Nolan in space, he's going to do some fun things. So
right,
never a bad idea. Never a bad idea.
And O'Flaherty,
he's good.
He's coming out a little bit in this competition.
Yes, he is. I will say I'm impressed, and you'll know how impressed I am when we do start and sit. But yeah, I mean, this is good. This is good to have another English rugby team. Now we have probably two, not named Saracens, that are at least rocking up in this competition, which is really what the Prem needs. Especially, obviously, if the Saracens aren't going to be in it next year, they really need a couple teams to step up and at least carry the flag for a little while. Because otherwise, you're going to have people are just going to say, "Oh, England rugby shit," and I do remember. I don't remember who it was, but they were calling that England shouldn't have 6 spots. And I was like, well, good luck giving them to somebody else because I don't know who else deserves them. Really, that's what it comes down to. And I don't know who else you give it to. Can't give it to another country, really.
Right.
I mean, because the countries that are eligible for it right now probably are at their max in terms of the quality of the teams that they have. I don't know where else you stick that. So, sorry, it's going to be 6 at least, if not 7, depending on how things shake out. But Exeter do take care of Glasgow 34-18, and for the first time since Exeter's entered Champions Cup, they are looking pretty darn good. And then this was a classic. Munster and Racing. Finn Russell, my word. He is, we've called him the magician.
He's every bit
he's
that.
every bit that. The nutmeg.
Yeah.
I was like, that's mean. That's so. And then he does a prop dirty on top of that afterwards. Right. I was like, that's just not right.
No.
Oh, that's so mean. But he knows what he's doing. He's picking on the right people. He's super smart, obviously. I mean, it's too bad we didn't see it over in Japan. But man, he's playing. This is his style. This is his style of rugby that he's playing at Racing. So it suits him so well.
It does suit him very well.
That was an excellent signing for them. You got to give that to him 100%. You know, I think he came from Glasgow as well. But yeah, just a huge signing for Racing to get a hold of him, so they could let this magician perform the control the baton for this act. You know?
There's guys you just want to let them be them. Mm-hmm. You know, Finn Russell's absolutely one of them. If you have Finn Russell as your 10, you say, you know what? We're going to give you some structures and just go play with them, and we'll let you do what you're going to do. Between some guys like him and which I don't think he gets that opportunity. Obviously, not as much with Scotland, and we know that Danny Cipriani doesn't get that at all with England. Right. Hopefully that changes.
No,
But there's just some guys, and we talked about Dan Bigger a little bit earlier too. He's just guys you just want to let them. If they see something and they saw it, don't worry about it. These are guys you don't second guess. You just let them do their thing.
And they'll usually lead you to good stuff more often than not.
Yeah, because every fly half's going to fuck something up. But are they going to do something as amazing as what these guys are doing? No. Probably not.
But, and this is a, big giant. What's the guy?
Speaking of which, wasn't there bum in this match too?
Oh, there was some
extended bum.
Well, there was some bum in the Ulster match. The guy was face down. I don't remember who it was.
Yes, I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember, but he is face down in the ruck, and his ass is out there, and he's laughing so hard. He's like, "I'm stuck at the bottom of the ruck. I can't do anything about this right now."
The guy just pantsed him. It wasn't like.
I was like, "Oh boy, we need to do like every time we see a bum sighting,
I was thinking about
a shot or something like that."
I think we need to do a bum compilation because that's.
I'm sure somebody has one of those out there.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite parts of rugby. Is just you never know when you're going to see bum. How many other sports do you get where there's just random bum?
Not much, and this is probably one of maybe 2, and that's probably pushing it.
You're right. You don't see it in soccer because they can't really grab like that. You don't see it in football as much.
The pants are belted on.
Right.
Like you've got a heavy nylon belt that doesn't move.
Hockey should have more bum, but you can't do that because they're all strapped in.
Yeah, they're very strapped in.
So. Yeah, rugby it is.
Yeah, but this was a good. There's a reason that Munster are so fucking tough to beat at Thomond Park, and they showed it. Mm-hmm. They have a ton of grit. They have a ton of never quit attitude. You look at their
lineup, and it's full of guys who you don't if it's in a back alley, you don't want to. You don't want to be involved in anything. Like,
no, hell no.
Omani, CJ Stander.
Nope. Hard pass, man.
Right. Now Scannell, Ty Byrne. These are guys that you just no thank you. Yeah. Even even fucking Keith Earls. I'm not standing between him and the try.
He's a tough bugger.
Yeah.
I did find it weird that they gave was it Haley or whatever it was, the fullback for Munster, the man of the match. I don't know how you don't give that to Finn Russell.
I don't quite.
I really don't know how you don't give that to Finn Russell.
Hometown call.
Wicked. But it was I believe their first ever draw in Champions Cup. 21.
Wow.
All.
First ever?
I think so.
That's crazy. Because
I think so. For as many years between this and Heineken Cup, I think this is the first one. So pretty crazy stuff. Nobody loses.
that works out kind of well for Sarries. I'm not going to.
Yeah, it does actually. I was actually thinking about that. I was like, this probably doesn't work out that terribly for them because both teams got bonus points beforehand. So now they're only down 2 to both these teams. So obviously back to back with Munster is not going to be pretty, but
it's going to be pretty fucking awesome.
It's going to be they'll be awesome. It's going to be awesome games. It's going to definitely be a pair of awesome matches. Racing and Ospreys. If you have a Racing player on your FRD team, start them.
Yes.
Way ahead of time, I know, but damn, start them.
Finn. Pick up Finn for that one.
I have him, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, propelled me to a win big time. Anything else from this match? Nope. I think that's it.
No, just
it was. I mean, it's great stuff. I mean, that is what we sign up for when we watch Champions Cup. That stuff right there.
Right. I kind of wish you could have a winner. The American in me kind of crept in on that one, but at the same time, just
fine,
a lovely match. And then at the same time with the Sarries kind of benefiting from that tie, I'm okay. I'm all right with this.
Okay,
I'm
I guess. Yeah, very, very good stuff. And then to round out the Saturday matches, Quinn's Bath.
I didn't see
just a slog.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this. Slog. Or the Sale match. So I'm out of my element on this.
Don't watch that much of this match.
Well, 15-9. I'm going to go home and watch it now.
If you want, do you need help sleeping? That's the question I need to ask. Do you need help sleeping? Are you having trouble sleeping?
No,
go ahead and watch this match.
I had Leon Leinster on my own, so that was
that was close. Yeah, close second. I watched that too. I think that was better than this.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that was better than this. This was bad. This was really bad. It was rainy. A lot of kicking, obviously. Ill-disciplined on Bath is what did him in. We had they had kind of a shot at it. Lang hit a penalty near the end that put him out to an 8-point lead, I think, or maybe a 9-point lead, and that was pretty much what did it because they ended up with Elia ended up with a yellow card. That was on the very terrifying hit on Watson, which I was holding me along with every other Bath fan was holding their breath for, like, ooh, I hope he's okay, because it looked bad.
Okay,
it wasn't anything nasty. Just the way he fell and the awkwardness of it was pretty much what made it look nasty. Nothing on Elia by any means. I'm not calling him out here and trying to be a dickhead. But yeah, so it was not a pretty match. Lang hit the penalty that won it. They ended up. Bath ended up trying to strike first. They couldn't take advantage of the few times they had penalty advantage in the 22, and this would have been their match. So Quinn's win. Nothing really else to report on it. Unfortunately, sorry to say, this is a slog. So if you can skip this match, kids, do it.
Fair enough.
Sale La Rochelle, much better match.
Okay,
but. What in the holy hell got into Bougarie?
I heard that this was a weird match.
It was a really weird match. It was just like you look at the stats and it's like some of it says one thing and then like La Rochelle, loads of possession, loads of territory, couldn't do fuck all with the ball, and it's like, and every time Sale even had the ball close and they scored what looked like a great long distance try for Chris Ashton, but the second to last pass to Faf de Klerk ended up being a mile forward because Faf was in front the whole time. And I was like, nope, he's in front. And I was, unfortunately, I agreed with Healy. I was like, what's wrong with me? The world's going upside down if I'm agreeing with Ugo and Healy in the same fucking weekend.
That's strange things are afoot in the Champions Cup rugby.
Big time. But it was a better match. The Curry twins, I mean, good luck telling them apart. It doesn't matter because they both play just as well and both are everywhere. They played awesome. I thought Faf was definitely a huge difference in this as opposed to if it had been Papier. So he played really well. I thought if they had Dan Dupria, this match would have been worse. They had to put John Ross at 8 because they put J.L. Dupree in the second row, which is great because it gives them a nice mobile second row.
Right.
Obviously, Sands, Josh Beaumont is a problem as well.
So I'm seeing J.L. Dupree at 5 for the foreseeable future till Beaumont returns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that'll work right there. If you got one Curry, you got John Ross, and you got Dan Dupree if he's healthy.
Right.
And then you have there's some other guys in there too. You got Phillips.
Yep.
Also has a possibility in there. I'm trying to think. Pulseweight came in this game, but really it came down to the Bouguerie red card, like just absolute madness. And Ross pointed it out right away, and the referee got on the TMO, and sure enough, he's gone after his eyes, and it was one of the Curry brothers. I don't remember which one it was. I think, and somebody made the point, I think he might have been trying to go for the tape just to be a dick, but when you try and be a dick, you don't deserve any benefit of the doubt. So, sorry, that's just how it goes. Brock James was a better 10 in this game than Ohio West was last game, so no shock there. Ohio West didn't play very well. Mm-hmm. Ratez still looking really good. If you have him as a FRD wing, keep rolling him out there. Even when they've not played well, he's done well. So keep rolling him out there. In the end, La Rochelle fall 15-25 to the Sale Sharks. Sale Sharks get their first Champions Cup win in a little while, and that makes this pool a little interesting. See how the rest of it goes. They got Exeter home and away next.
Ooh,
that'll be interesting. I'll be very curious to watch those matches at the very least. And then Montpellier Gloucester, which you had yourself some enjoyment watching this one because it looked like the Gloucester of old.
This was a journey for me.
For another reason, but yeah,
for me. But I was. It took me a little bit to understand what Gloucester were doing in this match. But once I figured it out, it was so fucking enjoyable. What Gloucester did was exactly what I wanted Saracens to do last week. So this is why I cannot have any complaints about Gloucester's game. Mm-hmm. The only thing, if I was going to complain about anything, would be obviously the fact that they did not kick from their own territory. What they did was they said, we're putting the boots away. They did not. So I'll get to it when I finally got to it. But it wasn't until I think 49 minutes into the match when I think the 12 trees boot up the field was the first time that the Gloucester kicked this match. Of course, 2 minutes later, Montpellier's kicking a penalty kick. So maybe that kick was a bad idea. But at the same time, it really wasn't working out for them because, for Gloucester, that is, because they just had too many handling errors in their own end that were killing them. But what they were doing, which was fascinating to me, was not only were they just saying we're going to play the ball, but they weren't just running phases just to run phases. To me, they were treating every phase like first phase. They were saying we're going to try to do something. Even when it was a forward crash, they were taking that ball and they were looking to see if a pass would be a better option than to take a run up. Fascinating stuff. Something that I want to go back and rewatch because that's almost like a coach's dream as far as here's how they were attacking, here's what their structures were looking like, here's how they used their players, and here's their decision making on every phase because they even when they were going through the forwards, sometimes it was still going through the backs. Lot of fun rugby that you can work with in different structures. No matter what kind of style you're playing, there's something to be learned from Gloucester, which is why they're kind of my side piece.
Right. Yeah. Well, we know that.
Because this was, they just play fun rugby. Now, then they were down 24-10 at half, which, because fucking Nadolo tried stopping him from 5 meters out.
Oh, that was not fair.
You're not going to do it. I mean,
he had the one that was called back, but then the one after that, it was almost identical. Like, good luck stopping him from that distance and at that angle.
Right.
Like, that angle is what does it, because it's not super shallow.
No.
And it's not dead on, and it just cuts through everybody that's standing right there. And with his size, that's just
And he was coming from a distance. Like, he's coming from, like, the 20, from behind the 22, into the 22, and like, good luck if you're a defense planning for that, preparing for it, because he's running and they're not seeing him. They're seeing the forwards that's right in front of him, and all of a sudden here comes Nadola out of fucking nowhere.
It's like, where did that guy come
from?
Wait,
he's just as big as a forward and he's fast. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
But also, what the fuck was that ref doing?
I don't know. Well, I mean,
At certainly not at halftime, where or around halftime, where the Montpellier has like 2 or 3 what should be walkover tries.
Oh, right.
And he's like, "Oh no, bring him back to the score." He would just blow it up, and the Montpellier guy, the 8's turning around and being like, let me fucking play the ball. We have a try.
Stop. Yeah, stop.
And he's like, no, I don't know, whatever the fuck he was. He wasn't French. He might as well have been fucking French. But it was just, it was George Clancy. He was Irish, so
yeah. Clancy's not that good.
Well, obviously,
people will talk about
it. Because he had a rough match even late in the game. It was just it was what it was. We obviously have to talk about that ugly red card on Duplessis. Where the fuck did that come from?
What is? And I said it earlier this week. Like, what is with French teams and dumb red cards and elbows in particular in this one? Like, he's just throwing his elbows around, not giving a shit what he's doing. You have to know that's going to result in something bad. You fucking idiot.
Right.
And
there wasn't. This was a very fun, very positive match. Nobody there were no handbags before leading up to this.
Not that I remember.
They were just 2 teams going. This was 2 teams just swinging at each other, not literally, but as rugby players and rugby teams.
As you do when you're trying to play attacking rugby.
Right, and both teams were doing it, and that was great. And all of a sudden there was that, which fortunately didn't make the match uglier. Everybody kept their head. Gloucester's got their young players. They're trying to show. I mean, because Lloyd Evans
didn't look that bad.
He looked amazing.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
And Chris Harris did a great job.
Young Irish Scottish center there.
Yeah, Thorley did okay. He acquitted himself pretty well. Sharples made a difference when he came on.
Yeah, good for him. Good to see Charlie Sharples back.
Really good to see him.
They needed him back. He's a big piece of them.
And of course, the way this year has gone, this match cannot end without a Joe Simpson try. so we got that.
Got to have that.
It's a necessary thing.
And Braley's try was good.
Braley's try was good too.
Just
he almost got cut in half by the post.
Yeah, I'm just glad the post pads are there.
Yeah.
Although all you that shit on how big those post pads are, that's why.
There's a good reason.
Yeah.
I kind of. There wasn't much else he could do because he couldn't run inside the pad because there was a defender there too. Yep. So
he went over where he could get over. Thankfully, the post pad saved him from anything nasty.
Right. That's very thankful. We've seen some bad injuries around that. So so that was good to see.
Yeah.
But Montpellier played it themselves. And I'm talking a lot about Gloucester here, but Montpellier played a great match on their own. We saw that their scrumming was.
Well, they put themselves out to a lead for a reason. It was 24-10 at halftime. Right. They were the red card kind of let them almost let the game away.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing it didn't.
Right.
But it was it definitely goes to show, don't be that stupid because you can cost your team so badly.
Yeah. But just that this was probably the most fun match of the weekend. Mm-hmm. And Montpellier come away with the win, 30-27. They hold on.
To beat Gloucester, and they're keeping themselves alive.
Right.
I guess Jan Ackerman has said that he's officially going to concentrate on the Prem now.
Yeah, I that's what it seemed like. I mean, that again, you don't play like this style in a competition like this, expecting, especially on an away match, expecting to win. But again, this was how I wanted Saracens to play last week. Say, you know what, if we're going down, let's have some fucking fun with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Gloucester did. They said, you know what, if we win, great. If we lose, whatever. Let's do this. Because a game like this, I mean, we've seen that they've been struggling in Premiership. Mm-hmm. And a game like this can turn things around because you're putting little things in that are going to change how you play.
Gets a little bit down again.
Yeah, and of course, again, Jake Pelledri. I just wanted to mention that name because he played a fucking hell of a match himself.
You got to know that name. All right, so that's round 2 of the Champions Cup. Excuse me. Prem coming up here. Start sit. We'll get to that in a minute. Friday, if you have a question for Ben or I, and just need a little bit of fancy advice. # AskTFRY. I'll be following it. Ben will be following it.
It doesn't have to be just Friday. Anytime.
No, anytime. But yeah, definitely Friday because obviously it's when all the lineups come out.
Right.
Thursday you get 2 lineups, but then definitely Friday is the mad rush. Like, oh shit, this person's not starting. What do I do? Well, here's your options.
What do you do? Ask us.
Yeah, we'll give you a hint. Anywho, start sit for Friday night. The Saracens go to the Rec. I'm gonna go ahead and I will just give the team. If I don't mention them, you can assume that I'm at least thinking about sitting them. We'll go ahead and put the stuff up on the Twitter feed on Friday to give you that hint. Anyway, Saracens. These are the guys you're probably starting: Earl, Spencer, Tompkins, Faz if he plays, Jinx if he plays, Mac O'Mara if they play, Daly. If Wigglesworth's the scrum half, play him in TRM only. Daly and Billy are FRD only as well. Bath, I would give Priestland their front row, Chudley, Obano, Stewart, Yules, McConaughey, and Samisa Rakandaguni a roll out there, although Rocco I would probably sit in TRM. He doesn't do that well there.
Worcester versus Sale. On to the Saturday matches. Sale are, again, it was true last week. It's going to be, last couple of weeks, it's going to be true again this week. Sale are the worst fantasy matchup in the Premiership. They're giving up nothing to nobody.
No kidding.
Worcester are in the bottom half of the league, so they're kind of open for the picking. As far as starts, for Worcester players, they're going to get their points. They're just not going to be as significant as they normally are because of Sale's defense. So I'm not going to make any recommendations to start. If you got guys that are playing well for Worcester, yeah, keep playing them. What I will make is sit recommendations, and that's Duncan Weir and Francois Hugard. These are weeks to probably give them a pass.
Maybe put them on your bench
if you have
for TRM.
If you have other options for TRM. For FRD, it's kind of hard to avoid them. Just don't expect much.
Yeah,
Hopefully your points
your
come
expectations mitigated.
For Sale, we mentioned him earlier, but Jean-Luc Dupree with Beaumont out for some time. Probably a great ad. I know in FRD he's a loose forward,
right?
But he'll be playing lock, I believe, for the next couple of months.
He'll still be useful there. It's okay.
So he's useful there. Worcester giving up the most points in the Premiership to fly halves. So either AJ or Robert Dupree, whoever's starting.
AJ.
You can for FRD if they're both on the panel start because you can still might get points from a reserve. More than you could for somebody you pick up off the waiver wire.
Yeah, no kidding.
For sits, Worcester are shutting down centers, so RJVR, Redpath, etc. sit him in all formats.
Ooh, yeah, Redpath especially. He's not that good.
Yeah,
I agree with that one. And I would temper your expectations for Aka because we talked about how his line throwing hasn't been great lately, and that's where a lot of the hooker points come from. So keep that in mind, just for you TRM Akron River fans. Okay, Wasps and Exeter. This will be interesting. Exeter give up the most points in both formats, or at least in TRM. I think FRD they're close. Second to last. So combined, the two bottom teams are Bath and them. So I was like, okay, that seems a little bit off, but it's accurate. The Bristol game did him in. I think that's what happened. Anywho, Wasps. I'll give you the starts that you need to keep your eyes on. Manassi, Kibarigi, Sopawaga. Rollins looks like he's getting a run in there, so go for it. Jack Willis, DeYoung, Robson, definitely as your halfback in TRM. He's done really well. Start the Wasps front row. They're actually pretty good. Either hooker, Taylor or Cruz, Marcus Watson, and Nizam Carr in TRM only. Exeter, they still have some good starts despite how they fared on the other side of it. Both Simmons, Johnny Hill, Vermeulen, Kvesic if he's in. I don't know. Yandel is always worth a go if he's in there at hooker. And then FRD only, and these are going to be three names that are going to just make your eyes pop. Hogg, O'Flaherty, Noel, Cinnamon, TRM. Hogg's not been good in TRM.
No.
So, no. Right now, neither is O'Flaherty, and I don't know what Noel's going to do. So,
right. It's weird how O'Flaherty has been lighting it up in the Champions Cup, but he's just not. maybe that his game's better suited to that.
Good for him.
I have no idea.
Good on him. I mean,
It's
he's
also
figuring it
Noel
out.
coming back maybe has something to do with that. But
Well, they're putting pressure
and
on him
Slade,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, Slade. Yeah, having Slade inside you always helps.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe for me right now, O'Flaherty's on a. I'm looking at you, but I'm not signing you just
No,
yet.
I'm not signing him yet either. He's on the list, but we'll get to it in a second.
Yeah.
You're
For where am I? Saints Leicester. The Saints are shutting down backs, but not the scrum halves, but giving up points to forwards. Leicester are giving up points everywhere, especially scrum half, but they've been decent against fly half. For the Saints, I'm just going to list the entire Saints back line. Reinach, Bigger, Hutchinson, Iravoro. Who the fuck knows who's going to start at the other positions at the moment?
Collins. Tom
Collins
Collins played so well this past weekend. He's not somebody we mentioned, but man, is he fast.
He is.
Yeah, if he plays, play him.
And not only that, but hold on, I'm going to go back to that match too with George Furbank, who's been playing amazing. I thought he outplayed Asituala when Furbank came
He's
in.
better, yes, I agree.
That changed things too.
I agree.
So Furbank's a guy who I would keep on your radar, just because when he's playing, you should be starting him. I'm not sure if what Tuala's deal is going to be going forward, but
You'll see him. Unfortunately, he's
You'll
going to
see
be
him.
one of those.
yeah,
He's going to be one of those buggy problems that's going to really frustrate the fuck out of you when Furbank's not starting, even though you probably know he's the better player.
right.
And it's like, no, get that guy out of there.
So I'm hoping to see more Furbank.
Right.
As far as sits, Leicester does pretty well against eights, so I would sit Tiamana Harrison for this one.
Yeah.
The Saints are going to have enough, enough success running through their back line that I'm not sure Harrison's really gonna make much of an impact.
He may not be required.
Right. For Leicester, got to look at their guys that are coming back. So Ben Youngs, George Ford. Ford because he's going to put up points if you can afford him in TRM. If you have him in FRD, like some people do.
Yeah, roll him out there.
Put him out there. And Guy Thompson, because I think he's going to be playing more at flank now.
It'll either be Kalamafoni or Tafua.
Right. And my big sit for Leicester is Kalamafoni.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, because Northampton's shutting down eights. Both these teams, it's weird how a lot of these teams, they give up points everywhere else, but they shut down eights.
Yeah, who knew? Sometimes they just haven't played a quality 8 either.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, that's all it comes down to. All right, and then we have Gloucester and Quins. I think Quins are actually a decent team in terms of what they give up, but they are, but Gloucester's better. So Gloucester doesn't give up much. They're one of the top teams in terms of defense. For Gloucester starts, and they're going to be names that just light your brain up like, oh yeah, that guy. Thorley, Simpson, Morgan, Cipriani, yes, start him. He should do well this match. Quinn's give up a boatload of points to fly halves.
Okay.
Atkinson, whatever the center is, whether it's Atkinson, 12 trees, or Chris Harris, go ahead. Tom Marshall, if he's in there, go ahead, roll him out there. Murray and Pelledri. I said Murray, do not play the front row. Sharples, don't play the front row in FRD. Sharples, if he's back, probably have to roll him out there in FRD because you probably picked him. I would wait on him.
In FRD, you can the outside backs are a dime a dozen. So if you have a better option there, I'd say wait till Sharples really shows you that he's back, because he got 15 minutes, something around that.
We'll see what happens.
Week. So he's going to be eased back in, and who knows how many opportunities
probably
he's going to get.
like that. Yeah, and then Jaco Creel, I would play in TRM if you have him, but find somebody else in FRD. For the Quins, Gabriel Ibatoya has impressed me, so go ahead and roll him out there. Mike Brown looks like he's back in form. James Chisholm, yes, if he's playing on the flank, play him. Marcus Smith is dazzling right now for the most part. This last game wasn't pretty, but he still got the job done, so good on him. Don Brandt, Will Evans, their other two young back rows. Chris Robshaw, if he's in there. Marchant, if he's in there, you better find an option if you have Joe Marchant in FRD and TRM, because he's leaving probably in January.
Yeah.
And then Danny Kerr, if he's your halfback, go ahead and roll him out there.
And for the last match of the week, Bristol versus London Irish. This is going to be a bloodbath. let's put it out there. The London Irish are giving up a ton of points. They're close to the bottom of the Premiership. You mentioned Exeter and Bath, but the Irish are right there, neck and neck with them. Bristol among the best in the Premiership, second to Sale. So they do give up points to back row players though. So that kind of helps clear things up. For Bristol, I really think this could be Thacker's coming out party this season. He's kind of struggled a little bit.
He has a little bit, yep.
But this could be where he gets his his mojo back a little bit.
Okay.
The Irish are the worst in the Premiership against hookers. Callum Sheedy is definitely a key start this week. Both scrum halves too. Same thing, especially in FRD.
Yep.
So we've talked about, I have Harry Randall, but I don't have Andy Urin. I'm starting Randall without even a second thought.
That's funny.
Because even if he only gets 30 to 40 minutes, he's still going to put up some decent points. Both of them just all they do is score points, so it's hard.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
That's why it's hard for them to pick a starter.
Yep.
But you're going to get a contributor either way. For Bristol, don't sit anybody. If you've got they're on the starting roster or they're the backup 9, play them.
Yeah. Fair enough.
For the Irish, I would be looking at Blair Cowan and Albert Tuisui, because again, the Bristol do give up points to the back row players, but those are the only two Irish I'd be looking at. They may get O'Brien for I don't know what the fuck O'Brien's status is.
I think he's still broken.
But we don't have any.
I
honestly don't have.
We
any
don't have an update on it right now, so maybe he comes good. Who knows?
Right. But other than that, I'd say count and Tuisui and sit everyone else because that's just not going to be a good matchup for them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Bristol are going to have a lot of ball in this match.
Yeah, I would anticipate so. This is it's at Ashton Gate, so yeah, I'd back it. Okay, let's do some goodbyes real quick. Goodbye. And then wait, hold on. Start of the week, duh.
Yeah.
As it stands, without seeing lineups, my start of the week for Premiership will be Sean Maitland. Bath are at the bottom of everything just about in TRM and FRD. Especially wings and outside backs, and so I'm going to go ahead and rock Sean Maitland, who is again a little bit underrated in my opinion, but in the Saracens team he is so important, and he will get the job done for you, I think, this week. So Sean Maitland in your lineup if he's starting, don't even bat an eye.
For my start of the week, again, also mentioned when I was talking about this particular match, he's a guy who is fantastic at his position. Has a fantastic team around him that's going to lead to some good points for him. And more than that, he's very well rested, and that's Kobus Reinach.
Yep, I have him in FRD, so I'm looking forward to his return.
I think he's going to tear up Leicester this week.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I mean, he looked pretty good in Benetton.
Yeah, he's gonna find some space and test Leicester's defense and tight around the breakdown.
Somebody's gonna feed him a pass that shouldn't be thrown. He's gotta snag it and go.
Yep,
that's what he's good.
He's
at.
gonna be running those nice inside lines that those scrum halves run.
At those.
And he's gonna get opportunities because the aforementioned Hutchinson and Nairvoro and they're gonna be breaking the line.
Yeah, there'll be some line breaks for him to get the opportunity for.
And not only that, but we all know Reinach loves those interceptions. And
exactly.
And Leicester will do that.
They'll probably throw one out there.
Youngs doesn't have the best service. So
no, he doesn't.
So
agreed.
Opportunities will be there.
Right. Well, you mentioned how much you are not loving the Worcester Warriors this week, and it's funny that you mentioned it because my sit of the week is Ted Hill.
Wow.
And he's a guy that I love. Let me just tell you that much right. I love this guy. But you got to use your brain in this, and I would not play him if you look for other options. Really, look for matchups at this point because I think he's going to have a really, really tough time this weekend. So just caution with that.
I'm glad you picked Ted Hill because my sit of the week also comes from the same match, but it's also a guy I mentioned earlier, and that's going to be Duncan Weir.
Oh, there you go.
Because it was basically between him and Hugard. Because I'm looking at when I think of a sit of the week, I think of a guy who you're going to be playing most times, more often than not. Yep. And this is a weekend to maybe take it off. I've had some. We've been hit or miss with this, so I didn't want to challenge that with Hugard because Hugard is again one inside line away from a try that makes him, what the fuck were you talking about? Sit him. Whereas
who told me to sit him?
Right. Whereas Duncan Weir is very unlikely to do much of anything this week.
It's going to be tough sledding for the 10 here.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with Duncan Weir on that one.
Okay, let's go to pick 'em real quick. Bath Saracens. No, I'm gonna go. I'm back on the boys in the black.
Yeah, Bath to me are still on kind of pretenders, and Saris are gonna put together a team that can.
Yep.
Walk them over.
Agreed. At Six Ways, Worcester Sale. I am really tempted to take Sale here, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Exeter Wasp. Chiefs. Sorry, until Wasps have not played well outside that one game that they just won.
We're so broken up about that.
Yeah.
Here at the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. I feel really bad for Dai Young.
Midlands Derby, Northampton, Leicester.
The Saints are going to be marching in and marching out.
Yeah, they're gonna walk all over.
And marching all over the field wherever they want to go.
I think so too. Yeah, it's going to be bad. Quins Gloucester. If Gloucester play the way they played this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and back them.
I'm going to back them too. I'm still not sold on Quins.
No, I agree.
Myself, I'm not really sold on Gloucester this year either. But for this matchup, I think
the two of them, yeah.
And
then at Ashton Gate, Bristol, London Irish, I will back the Bears.
The Bears are going to fucking rout them.
Yeah, I think this will be. This will be fun. It'd be fun if the Bears, and we talked about you and I think it'd be fun if the Bears won the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I think it would be
great for that club. So I hope they do.
I like what the Bears are doing. We've talked about Gloucester being my side piece, but fuck, it's
fun. It's fun to watch them too.
It's fun to watch the Bears. So they're these are. It's fun to have multiple teams. I think this year that are really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints are
Always fun.
They were fun. They picked it up towards the end of last year.
Oh yeah, they were awesome to watch at the end of last
year. And they're carrying that over into this year. Bristol are really coming into their own, and Gloucester are kind of sorting themselves out. So I think these are going to be some and I like the way Exeter are playing now. I didn't like watching them last year, but they're fucking fun.
This is better.
So
this is better.
I think we're getting a much better class of rugby. Certainly towards the top of the division. We're seeing some of these other teams that are still struggling, like your Wasps and your Leicester and to a lesser extent the Harlequins.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. All right. So thank you guys for listening. You guys are awesome. We appreciate it always. Check out your Rugby Mag upgrades. This is a good week to pick it up because you get a chance to kind of get used to it for a little bit. Try it out. Not make too many bad decisions for only 1 week.
I mean, you have this 1 week, and then you're gonna have off for a little bit, and then it comes back around Christmas. So think of this as if you buy it now, it's kind of an early Christmas present
gift.
to yourself.
There you go.
So,
Merry Christmas to me. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. Check us out on those. Make sure you're subscribed, downloaded. There's probably other apps as well that we are on because we're on those. So go ahead and have a look. FantasyRugbyPodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us a question, or hashtag AskTFRY on Twitter. We will we'll get to you, especially on Friday when you have lineup questions. I'm sure there's going to be a boatload of them. And feel free to give us a bell and ask us a question. We will do our best to give you a hand. Until then, we will talk to you guys next weekend. Have yourself a good one. Enjoy the Prem this weekend. Cheers.
Later.